Tom, when were you born?
1939. Yeah, I grew up in this area, and the Jamestown Speedway. It was something we looked forward to on Sunday. I mean, we were probably 15 years old and weren't old enough to drive. You jumped on your bike and rode out to the Speedway and walked down through the field and got up in a popple tree to watch the races. Every Sunday, it didn't rain. We cheated. We'd climb up a tree. Quite a bit of crowds. I mean, the bleachers was to take your life in your hands to climb up them. You know, they were just boards. And the concession stand was just a rickety thing, you know. And you went in through the middle. Here's one set of stands, and here's another set of stands. And then the entrance to the Speedway went right down the middle. They had a gate on that, and of course that went. The infield was the pits. The dirt track. That's where the word dirt track came from. I think it was a rock pile actually. The racing was just jalopy racing basically, and in relationship to the other tracks around here, like we say, the Grover boys used to run there, and Penny Royal, and Feeblecorn was up there, and they run both of them too. Standard third of a mile, and the rails on it, the guardrails, were just 2x12s with telephone poles drove in it. I mean, there was nothing there. I mean, there's nothing to keep the car coming right into the audience. When they went off the track in turn one, it was a dip down in there. I mean, it was like going off the road with no guardrails, you know. Yeah. And they would always be sticking up like this, you know, the back end, and they go out there and winch them up out of there. And of course, that took 20 minutes to do that, to get them out of the woods. So the announcer used to holler all the time, "Come on, guys, get these cars out here. We got to have a heat race." And sometimes it'd take 20 minutes between heat races. They didn't do very well. They didn't have any pit stewards or anything like that to take care of it. You know, they just more or less, here we are, let's race. You know. Bob Hallett was one of the guys that was really rough, you know. I mean, he used to go off the end of turn one right into the popple trees. He was wild, but he won a lot of races. Proper racing attire was his T-shirt and a pack of Lucky Strikes rolled up in your in your sleeve, and a leather football helmet stuck on, if you even had that. My mom was Emery Mann's first cousin. And she says, we used to go to Dickie Ben, and she says, they're going to run these late model cars, and your cousin's going to run that. He's going to be on Saturday night down this place called State Line Speedway. I think they had, I can't remember, about 10 or 12 cars.
Right.
To start the whole thing up, and they went to, and she says, he's going to race up there. Man, they had more trouble getting the people out of the parking lot than they did anything. It was muddy. And he won the race. Emery Mann won that race. I mean, it was, and when I think about that, and I think, God, that was a long time ago, 1956.
Did you ever race, Tom? Did you ever have any interest in racing?
Yeah, me and Tom Seavey did. But Tom Seavey, it was T58. And it was both Toms. He said, I mean, that was a mess, you know. I mean, today you wouldn't think of putting a tire between the front of your race car and chaining it to the back of your truck and driving it to the State Line Speedway. Which they done that a lot, you know. And then if you had a tow bar, you were big time.
Oh yeah. So did you ever race, Tom?
Oh, a couple times I did.
Where did you race at?
At State Line.
In what division?
They called them hooligans then. I believe it was
hooligans?
called hooligan, yeah. Early 60s. We had an Oldsmobile 88 Rocket. And it would V8, you know, and it was a big motor then. And trouble is, it would go like the Billy Blue Blazers down the straightaway, and you couldn't turn it. So you'd get to the corner and it would push like crazy. I mean, you can take out of course they didn't have cement walls then. It was just those posts drove in with the cables through them. And so we took the thing and we shortened up the one side, the inside, we shortened it up. We cut the tie rod out and put rebar in it. Welded it.
Really?
Yeah. And the outside, when we turned, it was already turned, and we would turn this way, and we lengthened the tie rod on the other side, so they were like this already. You had to yank it hard to the right to keep it on the straightaway, but boy, would that sucker go around turns. Jim Polero bought Mike's Restaurant. Simple purpose of putting that track back in running order. 1969, 1970, that he wanted to put that track back in order, but he never done it.